He's Tronic, man, isn't he? Giving him an out?
No clue. Remember, it's Vey, who's Trunic's guy, who's also looking after everyone's safety, so who the hell knows? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. We come back as we normally do with a board and some notes, so let's go ahead and look at that board first thing. Where, with the board changelog, I have added Degsby, connected him to Rubinsky with a green line. I added Henslow and connected him to Rupert Kesserling with a white line. I added Charlotte Kezern and connected her to her parents, and then connected her to Julian with a green line. I added Negroponte and connected him to Job with a green line. I connected Kesserling to Remscheid with a green line. I added Heinrich von Kummel and connected him to Hildy with a blue line and Mecklinger with a green line. And I've written this down, but I haven't done it. I connected Kesserling to Leopold with a white line. I didn't do it because I've only got Leopold up in the Lipstat block. Well, I've got it. I only have him up in the block. I don't have him down in the main board, and I only have Kesserling in the main board, so I haven't added him down below yet.
Well, now that we're done with the board, let's go to notes. And I do have a few notes. Not that many, not that much, but we have notes for 2 episodes. So we start with episode 29, One Slender Thread. Narrator, the connection between the Church of Terra and Pheasant is secret. In the first scene, a monk from the Church of Terra walks into Rubinsky's office. Yes, I know what you said, that doesn't necessarily mean that people know, but it's kind of like, oh, this is very secret, and a few people know it. By the way, it's like, there's an interesting way to handle that opening scene, to say the least.
I mean, I can't respond now. You literally said, you've already said what you said, and then, like, okay, well, my only comeback is what I already said, so... The statement made about Pheasant at the start of episode 29 is basically a reason for not recognizing the rebels as their own government. Pheasant's autonomy was acknowledged by the Empire and thus continued to be as a matter of course. Imperial acknowledgement is a slippery slope.
I mean, the thing is, if they were to recognize the Alliance, then it would be much harder not to do a peace treaty with them, right? It's like, oh, we're going to destroy the Alliance, but they're...
No, of course not. Just because you acknowledge the Alliance's existence as the Alliance doesn't mean you automatically are now shoehorned into a peace treaty.
No,
you're an enemy of the Alliance. At this point, acknowledging that you've been at war with a government instead of a rebel entity for 150 years just indicates that, oh, that thing that we're fighting against, we're having a new name for it.
Yeah.
It's the acknowledgement that it's not a rebel government, though, is the slippery slope.
But you can, well, I guess you can negotiate with a rebel group, but it's kind of harder because you're negotiating with your own people within you, so technically your own government. Therefore, they don't have their own power structures. You don't recognize that. But if you recognize a foreign government, then you recognize it as equals, right? It's like, oh, this is a government. We negotiate with governments, right?
Well, again, it's also property law. We understand that you are rebels. That means you are part of the Empire. We are trying to get our own shit back.
Yeah.
So we recognize you as a foreign entity. That's not our shit we're trying to get back. That's your shit we're trying to take from you.
So it makes it harder to continue the war. Not impossible, certainly.
I'm saying you're the one that threw out the moment that we recognize you as a foreign entity. We should probably do a peace treaty. I'm saying, no, never.
No. It makes it easier. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it. Clearly, you don't have to.
Well, I'm saying what you implied by the wording that you chose to use made it seem as though that would be the instant that you would have to start doing that. And I'm saying, no, of course not.
I mean, it wouldn't make sense to, even if you're at war, if there's another government, you still can have some kind of negotiations. Both of them can be true at the same time, right?
Sure, just ask Putin.
War.
Just ask Putin. Negotiations are good for the war.
I mean, it happened during most of the Korean War as well. They were fighting and they were negotiating.
Yes, Lessons, but I am assuming, probably rightly so, that our audience is more recent.
True.
So I'm using examples of recency rather than leaning back to the many wars in history where someone waved a white flag and then shot someone in the face. When's that armistice start? 5 minutes from now? You guys need to charge the front line quick. You got 5 minutes till this war is over. Kill as many of them as you can. All quiet on the Western Front.
My next note. For an act of betrayal, Rubinsky is playing it I don't know why I didn't put it there. Rather openly, at least with the Church of Terra. My guess is that he knows that he can't hide anything from them and thus keeps them appraised of his actions and tries to steer them in his direction. It is a bold plan, to be sure.
As long as it's not betrayal yet.
Well,
He's
he does keep a
actively
lot of-
trying to convince them to follow the plan that he wants to go with. Betrayal would be just doing it and then trying to one-up them whenever it happens. You don't try and sell someone on your plan if you wouldn't want to bring them in on it.
Yeah, but remember what he says afterward, and I have a note about that as well. It's like, we can't permit the Church of Terra to actually take over because that would be a bad thing. So he's like, oh, I'm going to use them for what I need to do, but I'm the one who's going to take over because I can't let those guys
Yeah,
take
but once
over,
again,
right?
though, he's still trying to, bend them to the plan that he wants to go with.
But ultimately, he's going to betray them.
Maybe not. He says what they want, and then he says that we can't let that happen. But he's also trying to bend them along the way. You're saying betrayal because you're thinking, this is the starting point, this is what this group wants, this is what he wants. And you're like, here's the end point. Clearly, he has to betray them to get to the end point where they don't get what they want and he gets what he wants. There's a lot of room in between here and there. And what's he doing right here at the start? Trying to change their minds about what they want. Incrementally. We need to start doing this thing here and do this thing here instead of what you had planned over the long term. All right, well, I don't think that's going to be the case. Okay, well, I'll talk to you again about it later. The element is he can wishy-washy his way all the way here until incrementally along the lines, they don't want what they want anymore at the end. It's not a stab in the back betrayal that I'm going to do this. It's not a stab in the back betrayal.
Okay, that's what, yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying, it's funny. Sure. Anyway, it's not a stab in the back betrayal because there's a long time from here to there. You don't know, and he's being very open, very manipulative, very used car salesman. Go figure, a guy like Rubinsky might be a used car salesman, but the element is that I think he's going to trick his way up the stairs of their plan to get them to incrementally change over time, which is not a betrayal, it's a trick.
I don't think it's going to work that way because he's describing them as fanatics.
Again, though, lessons, you're thinking it isn't going to work that way. I'm not saying that I'm right, by the way. I'm just saying that there's a lot of space in between, and I don't think you can just assume betrayal. Betrayals tend to be, they're built up over time, but they also tend to culminate in an instant.
Like most things, really.
Well, no, I'm saying that you can change somebody over time. This is Rubinsky is looking at his girlfriend, the church, thinking I can fix her, and
doesn't sound to me like that speech doesn't sound at all like he can actually fix it. It's the opposite. It's like, yeah, I got to use them now.
His speech is a statement of facts, lessons.
Yeah,
and his actions are, I can change that. We can't let the church do this. In which case, Rubinsky could come up with a plan where the church still gets what it wants, I say a Christian nation, universe, whatever, but doesn't ruin the government or the economy or whatever the fuck of the world that he wants to build. So the church can still get what it wants in a very less sense, and still he gets what he wants, and he manipulates his way there. Because that seems to be how Rubinsky operates. Manipulation.
Except that Church of Terra is also in the game, a manipulation game. They have set up pheasant for the purpose of manipulating these two powers so they would destroy each other, and therefore...
Again, lessons, though, my problem is that your view on this is that things will remain the same between these two up until the point that he will betray them. And we seem to have, based on what episode are we on? We seem to have a lot of time to go, and I just don't foresee him just betraying them. Something is going to happen, and then something else is going to happen, and the relationship is going to slowly change over time, and he's going to manipulate, and they're going to manipulate, and they both need each other, because the church doesn't have anything outside of Fezzen. So, and then Fezzen really needs the church, apparently, because otherwise, why wouldn't Rubinsky just ignore them, right? So, the element is they need each other, but they both have different wants, and I feel like Rubinsky is going to try and upsell them on this used car, and then they're going to be like, no, we made this for this. We can hurt you, apparently, somehow. It's not going to be an instant betrayal. There's too much time for that, I feel like. Things aren't static. So, Fezzan was established in 648, according to my timeline, which was just 8 years after the first contact with the FPA by the Empire, so 8 years into the war.
Which, if Fezzan was assigned to destroy both entities originally, that means that the Church of Terra already knew about the planet's alliance.
It wasn't designed to
Empire
destroy both entities. It was just trying to keep balance between the two.
No, because the ultimate plan of the State of Terra is to take over all of space.
That's Rubinsky's plan, is to make the Empire the new Empire and have it conquer the Free Planets Alliance. The Church's plan, up till now at the very least, has been to keep them in balance so that no side could get a thing over the other side, so that they would have influence over both sides.
But it still alludes to the fact, I think, that they knew about the Free, which makes sense if you had worshippers in the Free Planets Alliance that were members of Church of Terra. Somehow they would be communicating, maybe.
Well, the idea is that Fezzan formed 8 years after first contact.
Yeah.
So that doesn't seem to indicate that they knew about the Free Planets Alliance beforehand. It just seemed to indicate that they had the will and motivation and ability to have themselves put out there 8 years after that discovery.
Yeah.
So 8 years of church planning, I guess.
However, Rubinsky is right. A state rarely falls merely from external attack, but as much, if not more, from internal decay, which speaks to Trunicht and the whole mess in the Alliance.
No argument. Rubinsky wants to help the Empire take control of the galaxy so that they can take over Reinhardt's legacy. Of course, I get a kick out of the first concern the Church has is that Oberstein might be a problem. I guess implying that killing Reinhardt would be relatively easy, but dealing with Oberstein after would be the hard part. Rubinsky goes on to not even address that concern, just confiding in Degsby that it would be easy to kill Reinhardt.
I would argue that Oberstein would be, and this is giving you props to Oberstein here, which I loathe to do, but, hey, the facts being what they are, that Oberstein would be keen to stop or derail anything that would get close to do this. Yes, we know that the assassination happened and he was there and he didn't stop that, but...
I mean, he tried by putting his body in the way of Reinhardt.
Yeah, but his security failed. His security arrangements failed to even get the guy.
No, I think you're assuming too much. Oberstein is not in charge of security. Oberstein is an advisor, which means that Reinhardt had assigned somebody else to in charge.
I think it was under Oberstein's security.
No, it's because you hate Oberstein. You want Oberstein to take the fall for anything because you thought Oberstein was up to something by having him confiscate Kerchase's gun. Oberstein didn't do that. As I said before, when I was telling you this whole no seconds thing, Oberstein believes in a hierarchy where everybody has their role and they're in charge of the thing that they're in charge of. Oberstein is not in charge of security. Reinhardt would have assigned somebody the very specific role of security here in Geiersburg. So that was somebody else's role. Somebody else failed there. What was your note that you think you just read?
About Rubinsky. It was your note.
I was saying, that's why I'm very confused, because I'm pretty sure that I just talked about Oberstein, unless you brought Oberstein on your own.
Rubinsky talks about how the Church, he's implying the Roman Catholic Church is now the Holy Roman Empire, the Church of Terra, I guess. They evolve into that. The Church took over the Holy Roman Empire. But the thing is, what they actually took over was the Western Roman Empire, hence why it's called the Roman Catholic Church. The HRL, the Holy Roman Empire, came much later after the coronation of Charlemagne, Charles the Great, and the collapse of his dynasty. And it was formed by Otto the First, King of the Germans, and it comprised back then almost all of Germany, Austria, and parts of Poland. So that was the HRL, the Holy Roman Empire, right?
Well, I mean, actually, it's the Pope that gave him the authority to have that, even though the Pope had no connection to the Holy Roman Empire. He crowned him as leader of it. Sorry, I don't remember the title. But yeah, I kind of just assumed that he was talking about, when I say he, Rubinsky, that he was talking about the Byzantine Empire, which is, of course, just the western side of the
eastern side.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about it. I'm sorry. I'm so used to thinking.
And
it depends on where you're drawing the line on shit, but yeah, it is the Eastern Empire. Anyway, I just assumed he was talking about that, which is just itself a division of the Roman Empire. But we're talking about actual Roman Empire. Well, I mean, it's the one that lasted the longest.
It'd actually be wrong because there the emperor was both.
We're not talking about actually taking over. We're talking about having so much influence that,
But like I said, the thing is that the emperor was himself the head patriarch of the Eastern Church and the emperor. So technically,
so exactly what they want then.
No, but it's the emperor is like, oh, think about it this way.
Yeah, but they're talking about killing Reinhardt and replacing him with the legacy, or taking over his legacy, which would be putting one of theirs in charge, who is then of the church. So it would be that Christian emperor that you're talking about.
Yeah, but the way it happened and now we call the Byzantine Empire, which they didn't call themselves that, but it would be like if Reinhard became Kaiser, and then he assumed like, oh, by the way, these Church of Terra people are running around. Okay, now I'm the patriarch of the Church of Terra. Like, but what? No,
Lessons. I also want to remind you of something we talked about. Oh God, I don't know how many episodes back. It's like the year 3000, and we're already well outside the scope of people learning past history. You're lucky Rubinsky even knows the names of things. Like, legitimately.
I mean, they have referred to past history pretty accurate before.
Pretty accurately. No, they've hand-waved references. They've never gone into, like, legitimately, Yang has been learning from pictures with no sound. Like, there's no indication that these people have accurate history.
Well, I mean, they seem to have some accurate
history. I feel like at this... We're doing that joke, not even a joke, that reference, like, we're closer to X than we are the construction of the pyramids. Like, yeah, these people are just out there. Like, we know the Federation fell, they made an empire, and then people ran from the empire to form this other thing. And it's like, how much of history has been kept? These people are just probably broad referencing shit the same way that I do. I know the broad strokes of a thing, not like the main thing. No, we learned that the Christians took over the Roman government. Like, okay, well, sure, whatever, maybe.
Anyway, I just wanted to put that in.
I mean, I get what you're going for here. It's just I don't think Ravinsky is your historian character that you want to break down, because I don't know that he knows anything. He's like probably just trying to look smart in front of this guy. And the other guy's like, wow, this guy's smart. So the Alliance is already a lost cause. Their economy is controlled by Fezzen, and the leadership are either pawns of the church or Job, who was saved by the church. Fezzen is going to use these people to weaken the Alliance further, and we just went through a whole arc of the military trying to take power away from these people for the good of the nation, and failing horribly, likely souring the well of public opinion for any course corrections in the future.
There's only one thing I can say about that. Yes. I'll move on to my next note. Okay. Little Julian carrying a kitten in the crook of his arm is adorable. Well, it was adorable. The kitten that became the fat cat that they already have. I don't know if I just say that cat has a name. It has to have a name.
No.
I never mentioned it, though.
I mean, it's based on a light novel, so I assume in the light novel they give it a name. I don't know. But pretty easy to find out. Let's see. Julian. Does Julian's cat have a name? Well, not going to read any more because that would probably be a spoiler. Yeah, no. Just assumed it would show up like at the very beginning. History. Julian showed up at the doorstep with a cat named. But no, not there. Admiral. Cat's name is Admiral.
Oh, of course it is.
Admiral was a cat that belonged to Julian Mintz. When Julian was away or attending duties, he was often cared for by Yang Wenli, later by Alex's family. Admiral is never referred to by name in the OVA, however, his name appears in English on his food bowl in a scene from the third series end credits. So, we will have learned Admiral's name had we been patient enough to do so. Would have been a whole reveal for you who was curious. That's something I mentioned in the reaction. Yang is getting the Bruce Ashby treatment. The idea that Ashby might have sought a career in politics after his military victories scared the powers that be into thinking that their time was up. And through long and convoluted means spanning both the FPA and the Empire, that threat was put down. Now we have Fezzen wanting to get the FPA to put down... So the Empire... What? Now we have Fezzen wanting to get the FPA put down so that the Empire can control everything, making it easier for them to then control the Empire and everything by extension. So they are using their economic leverage by calling in the loans it knows the FPA cannot repay, and assuring them of an extension to that repayment so long as our government remains stable. and thus giving them an in to introduce the possible instability they believe Yang brings to the table. It let them put pressure on a group they otherwise wouldn't be able to by interacting with an incompetent who will then escalate this issue far above where it might have been had someone of merit been in his position.
Or somebody can be easily defeated on the battlefield. Or simply drawing out. Well, I have notes about that.
No, sorry. I think you're misreading. I'm talking about the incompetent being the guy that we literally got shown was put in a position because not of merit or ability. They just needed somebody there. That guy is being manipulated into escalating this concern up to Job himself that we see later. So, had somebody of merit been put in that position, they might have been able to handle this, this manipulation. But we had this guy who's then going to escalate this concern, which is, by the way,
who panics, basically who panics.
Well, it's not even that bad of a manipulation, We're calling in the loans. Oh, shit, we can't repay that. We can't repay that, says the guy out loud, Well, we'll give you an extension, so long as your government proves to be able to remain stable. You did have that scare with that coup a little while ago. We have concerns that you might not be able to repay these loans, which is, the idea that they're constant loans, that the FPA needs this money continuously to keep going, because we already know the FPA is failing financially as per, 80 episodes now of them shutting down programs and stopping subsidies to the civilian government and shit literally shutting down on a daily basis. So it is a valuable threat. And then introducing the element of concern that we have.
Valid, yeah.
What?
No, you said valuable threat. I said valid threat, but yeah, go ahead.
I don't know what I said. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, introducing the idea that their concern then is Yang, and that Yang might be a secondary element to what the NSMC might have been, then makes him a target of said government. So
yeah,
it was a very good way to leverage their economic power into directing it against one target.
I mean, there's a term for that, and I'm going to use it in my next note. So Fezzik controls the alliance by way of debt peonage and by the fact that their leadership owed its survival to the Church of Terra. Great.
Well, one leader did.
Well, now he's the leader, so yeah.
I don't know, because technically his position should still be. I don't know what the hell's going on with my voice or my throat
Minister
or my
of
tongue.
Defense, I think.
No, that's what I'm saying. His position should still be temporary until a new vote is had, as it was before the coup. There's no reason the coup should now make his position forever or the de facto position.
No, but he is in a very strong position now, thanks to the support of Church of Terra, to win the election. If
we don't have any proof of that. Well, we have no numbers to say that the Church of Terra is a major voting bloc, more than, say, the people of the families that Job got killed. Remember the 20,000 that would be voting against him? We have no indication that the Church of Terra's numbers are rival that. All we saw is a group of them marching through the street the one time where Yang was having a conversation with Bokak. And we know that they've got someone under the Capitol that they can hide somewhere away. So the element being is that Job, I just don't get. I think the problem here is that, as they've already indicated, Job has command people in the military now too. So who's going to take him out? Again, not to always mirror modern day events, but when your president controls the Department of Justice and the military and has free reign to do whatever, who's going to counter it?
Yeah.
I'm glad Andrew went over the impossibility of Job's position. It's exactly the same stuff I kept saying about how all the failures up to now should have killed his career, and yet he's somehow stronger than ever. Good to know Bokak is against Job. We don't know we don't know much about Kubler-Esse, other than he took over for Sithole and was against Andrew Falk back in the day. Still, he's fed up with Job as well.
Yeah, but the problem there is that they're fed up. Their only option other than take up arms could be to quit, which would leave the places vacant for Trunick to put his own people in there and just make things worse.
Yeah. I mean, I hate people that resign.
I mean, if you don't have any other options, you can't make any change, and you don't want to participate in in
You
the system.
You don't. You become a willing. You resist until you're fired. You know, if you really cared, you would hurt your career.
True enough.
Because the problem is everyone resigns, and all you have are yes men. And you know what? The system is now better for the person that you're disagreeing with, because now there's no stoppage. You could have been a stoppage until you got removed, and then you could have brought that to court. You know, bring that to court. They can't remove me. They have no cause. Prevent them for as long as possible. They should have a timetable of 4 years. You know, granted, probably going to be seeing that red ass. Probably going to be there longer. But if there was only 4 years, you could delay. And granted, someone's going to be, knowing our fucking audience, someone out there's going to be like, oh, what if the other side did this? Would you agree with that? You know, if the other side was doing what's happening right now, yes, I would. I would agree with that too. I am not left or right. I am not Democrat or Republican. I believe in people, despite what I might fucking say here regarding anime.
I mean, wrong is wrong, you know. If they're doing that, they're doing it wrong, and it's not helping anybody, so you can't justify it. Like, oh, yeah, no. But that's a discussion for another dark space in the interwebs, not here. My mind needs to rest from that. So, my next note. I mean, it sounds like a lot of foreshadowing for an attack against Yang.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's obvious. What a fucking mix mash of a conversation. Alex says it's a person's greatest duty to have kids, a sentiment I disagree with from a point of personal choice. Have kids if you want kids. If you don't, then don't. Don't let people pressure you into it. But then Yang's point about killing being the ultimate wrong if you support life as the ultimate right. Alex's point is that if a person has enough kids, then those kids can make up for the crimes of the father, which is a shit point of view. But he then goes on to talk to Julian about the importance of protecting Yang, due to Yang's importance to everyone, even at the risk of Julian himself. So, you know, important to have kids, but also important to put the lives of those you raised on the line to protect yourself as well. I like Alex as a person, but lately I disagree with his stances on things.
I mean, yeah, I think he's like, I am content because I have a family, and this family makes me feel good about myself, and I want my friend to have something similar. Thus, I'm blinded to the fact that my friend has his own things, his own cross to bear, and the overall. You should never ask people who don't want to have kids to have kids, because there's a good chance they're not the best parents. In fact, a lot of people who say they want kids end up not being very good parents in the first place because they want trophies, not be part of a family.
My problem is, and I didn't write this down, and I don't know if I'm going to keep this either, the thought process I was having is that this comes from the same point of view I tend to find where the people say a woman's place is in the kitchen, or a woman's place is to raise a family. I agree. I'm going to use the word traditional because that's the way that they use it. It's a traditional family value that doesn't have to exist, or is a very 60s mentality. It's just...
Traditions have no inherent value of their own. They have only the value assigned to them, and especially to those that benefit from it. If you don't benefit from a tradition, then it has no value to you.
Anyway, I can see that the conversation is just, they're adding so many different points of view about different things that don't inherently have anything to do with one another, but they're putting it all into one conversation. Like, again, you should be the poison tester for Yang, because Yang's not going to look out for himself, so he's going to need someone to look out for him, and that should be you. So I should put myself in harm's way because Yang raised me? Yes, because children are the most important. Yeah, this is the element that there's no connective real tissue between those conversations. They just happen to happen in the same room with the same people. So it's just the way that they frame everything together. It makes it seem so weird.
My children who know their parents are okay, but you're an orphan bastard, so we don't really care if you survive or not. Yang may care, but he doesn't show much emotion.
Well, it's more so the element that he wants to be a military man, and that Yang can't dissuade him from it. So Alex is like, well, let's use you then.
Now, this goes to another point Rubinsky says about, the two sides coming to an agreement, which I don't agree with. I don't think that if the alliance becomes a military dictatorship, the empires would stop the war. Reinhard is hell-bent on conquering all known space because he thinks that's what Kirsch has wanted from him.
I mean, it would.
Like, oh, if they become a military dictatorship, and like, no, why would they? I mean, military dictatorships fight each other all the time. It's like, oh, you're a military dictatorship. I'm a military dictatorship, but I want to rule you over as well as me. So I'm going to try to conquer you. It's like, well, we don't want to be ruled by you. We instead want to rule you. So yes, we're going to go to war. Dictatorships never stop at the river shore.
The problem with Job getting the threat from Pheasant regarding Yang is that Job has shown time and again that he's willing to throw the military under the bus for political gain. To the detriment of the defense of the FPA. Millions upon millions of soldiers are dead due to Job's maneuvering. I can't imagine his yes-man high command is going to do much to stop that. Despite everything, they are going to push Yang into a position of doing what Admiral Greenhill failed to do. I guess, unlike Greenhill, we've seen Yang's crew rise up through meritorious achievement, while Greenhill's group were mostly background characters.
The thing is, I don't think Yang would do it. That's the thing. He might be pushing to that position, but I don't think he's going to do it.
Well, that's the thing is that Yang has been pushed into that position his entire life. I mean, not that position. Yeah. Yang has been pushed into every position. No. And Yang does whatever position he's been put into. Like I said, Reinhardt's rise has been... Sorry, my problem is I came up with an example in my head about Yang's, and I didn't think about what I would use for Reinhardt's example. Reinhardt has been... crab bucket?
Oh, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you might, because Reinhardt has been having to fight his way out of the pit the entire time.
Like putting crabs in a crab bucket, they're going to fight. Not all of them.
Right, but I just meant my example for Yang isn't like this. Yeah. So, Yang has been playing Twister.
Yeah.
People keep telling him where to go and what to do. He does it. He gets promotions. People like I've always said, Yang is being pushed from the bottom. Reinhardt has been pushed down from the top. Reinhardt rises regardless of the force being applied to him from the top. Yang rises regardless because there's nothing pushing down on him. People need him to rise up. Now, the things are getting reversed. People on the other side, Pheasant, well, actually, no. Yeah, things are getting reversed. Pheasant wants to elevate Reinhardt so that they can then have him take over everything and then kill him. So Reinhardt's being elevated now from below, and then Yang is now having people from the top push down on him where they haven't before.
I'm thinking that Rubinsky's plan is to attack or even assassinate Ambrose. If that happened, Reinhardt would go mad with fury and seek to annihilate the Alliance in revenge for thus unleashing the very barbarism that Rubinsky said he wanted to avoid.
I don't think so. I'm not saying that no one's going to attack Ambrose. Obviously, we've already said that that's probably going to happen. I just don't think that Rubinsky can think that Reinhardt will continue to be successful and create the new Reich, as it were, with the death of his sister as well. He would need Reinhardt to be in his best frame of mind to be able to accomplish the tasks. Otherwise, he'll become a detriment to himself and a hindrance to the plan.
But the thing is that he wants the Empire to not only fight the Alliance, but hate the Alliance. So either that or he's going to commit an act of mass murder equivalent to the bombing of the entire planet. No, he needs the Empire
to take the Alliance, not hate the Alliance.
No, but he says that's a plan, that they're going to hate the Alliance so that they never stop fighting them and take over. And
no, they have to. So, yeah. Lessons. The plan is to create a new Reich where the Empire controls everything. They don't want them to continue fighting. They want them to win. They need the fighting to end. I think if Rubinsky has any plans to kill Ambrose, it's going to be after victory. I need him to be so distracted that he'll be easy to assassinate. So we kill his sister, he'll fall apart, and then everyone else will have to take care of him at that point, and then he'll be an easy kill. Or, God forbid, kills himself. Hildy says that no one can reason with Reinhardt with Kirchhe's gone now, but that's exactly why Oberstein was brought in back in the day. To be the counter Kirchheis for things Kirchheis was too weak-willed to handle. We've seen that a number of times, and I don't just mean the times we've already debated. Oberstein keeps things going when Reinhardt shuts down. He keeps things going when Reinhardt is angry or tired too. He might not be a Kirchheis figure, but he's certainly the closest thing left in that inner circle. the only one left willing to piss him off, tell him what needs to be done, and keep the Empire running.
I think you might understand that Hildy's problem is that he doesn't want that because Oberstein will always guide him to the darker,
No, you're inferring stuff that's not in that scene. She is saying that the only one who can no one can talk to Reinhardt now that Kircheiss is gone. That he's locking himself away from everyone because she's inferring I cannot get close to Reinhardt and nobody can get close to Reinhardt. She's not having this thing about Oberstein can do this or Oberstein can do that. She's not even thinking about Oberstein. She's thinking about how distant she's now from Reinhardt and that nobody will ever be as close to Reinhardt as Kircheiss was.
And because in no small part, Reinhardt is going colder and more dismissive of people. Like, if he dies, he dies. He was talking about.
Well, I don't say dismissive. It's more distant. He's distant because she notices her tapping the thing that he has the pictures and the hair and everything. That he's becoming more attached to the memory than he is to the people around him. I'm just saying it has nothing to do with Oberstein. I'm just bringing up Oberstein myself because I'm the only chief defender of Oberstein. Legitimately, I thought about us watching this. There's a very funny Legend of Galactic Heroes commercial. I can't remember what it's for. Some device I'd never seen before. Where legitimately they do a pretty good job. Better job, I would think, than Char in a car commercial. Anyway, I was on the Reddit and I saw that. But also, just a random hate for Oberstein thread. So I don't know what the fuck is happening there. Obviously, didn't look. Don't want to spoil. I don't know if that's Oberstein does something in the future or just Oberstein now. Because I can see where people would hate him. But, at the same point, dude gets shit done. Dude keeps things going. I'm pro Oberstein.
No, I know. I am aware. My final note for this episode, but not my entire notes. I have more. Talking about Hilda and Reinhardt. I mean, the conversation with Hilda shows that Reinhardt is growing colder by the day, speaking in a manner not that different from the nobles he deposed. Except for I will not gonna murder a child, but then we have another conversation with Oberstein where that's how you achieve your goals is as important as the goals themselves.
Well, we already had that conversation.
Yeah.
Remember where I said that I think even Oberstein was like, "Do you sure you want to kill those kids?" So even Oberstein was on your side in that one.
We already had that conversation. I do not want to repeat that conversation because we're going to waste a lot of time on a conversation that we already had. I said my point, and I understand where your point is coming from, which you disagree with my point. I think we should move on.
I guess Mecklinger is a Renaissance man, or even Heinlein's competent man, minus a few distinctions. Certainly stands opposed to Heinrich, but also obviously as inspiration. Of course, seeing someone like Heinrich also goes to show that the Empire doesn't directly follow the Inferior Genes Exclusion Act like it did in its founding. Mecklinger even mentions that he's encountered a number of people like this.
Things might, I mean, they may. I mean, we already have Oberstein, who literally said in the past, "I would have been killed because I needed to."
I mean, we've also covered the element that certain people with colorblindness can't serve, but that's an element of people not serving in positions that would they're not suited for. Versus the impetus that people with inferior genes would just be killed back in the day, which is what I'm saying, that apparently we don't do that anymore in the Empire. Because, I mean, I get what they're saying about people with colorblindness not being able to serve, that if the Empire is based around, uniformity, let's say, then everybody being able to recognize what everybody else is saying based on a common perception of the world, and I don't mean like political ideology or whatnot, I mean like legitimately, that's green, that's green or that's blue.
Color,
yeah, then I can understand where they're coming from, even though conceivably they could put those people into positions where color wouldn't matter. But, it's the military. They're doing whatever they gotta do. If they decide that they need whatever percentage of the population that would be born colorblind, they don't need that many people in their military, then I guess it's whatever. You had 25 billion people, looking at 1 million people that they're disqualifying?
Yeah, give or take. Now, on to that note that opens the next episode, episode 30 of The Lost Things. The opening sequence seems to be foreshadowing for something, but aside from glazing Reinhardt, again, I don't see much of it, unless poor Heinrich becomes involved in Fessen's plans somehow.
in a picture. Get a cat.
Or he's someone who murders.
That's it right there. They attack Isolon. They raid it. They get Admiral. They give it to Heinrich.
That would be sad.
Now it's personal.
Yeah.
Geiersberg non-warp traveling speed 8,000 kilometers per hour is 6.5 times faster than the speed of sound. Only 1/5 of Earth's escape velocity. It's fast by planetary standards, slow when it comes to objects traveling through space.
Yeah, which makes sense. Seems like a very impressive number, but space is big and things travel very, really fast in near perfect vacuum.
I almost feel like I'm going to replace you now. Space is big, and I'm going to start with the opening to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Or Cosmos.
I think the shop just down the block is far away, but space.
This is stupidly big. Unimaginably big. My next point, which is pretty short. Also, Hilda is now Reinhard's personal secretary. I was wondering what her exact position was. I was like, oh yeah, I'm his personal secretary.
I mean, we already know those two are going to get together. It was said in I guess my note from before, where it seemed like even Oberstein. Oh, here you go. Even Oberstein was against Reinhardt's order to kill the kids of the Lichtenlade family, and Reinhardt gave that speech about drops of blood in a bucket that made me question if he actually had done it or not. His conversation with Hildy seems to imply that he did not. Not wanting to go down in history as a child murderer for killing Erwin would seem to imply that he didn't kill the others as well.
I would hope so.
Well, I feel like we may have had a conversation earlier about this.
Indeed, we did.
We did not.
My third note. So Reinhardt is lying about the Alliance as a common enemy to rally the people, and Hilda notices by the way he clutches the locket around his neck.
What?
He says that there's the conversation is like, we need a common enemy, and she says it has to be the Golden Bomb, and says, well, I'm not going to kill this kid, so can't be the Golden Bombs, it has to be the Alliance. But all the while he's fiddling with the locket, and she goes like, yeah, you're not going after the Alliance because we need a common enemy. You're going to the Alliance because you want to go after the Alliance.
But he's not lying. The Alliance is the common enemy, though. Even if he's going after them for a different reason than what he's saying, they're still the common enemy. Even without the Golden Bombs, like, say Erwin died of a heart attack, they would still be the common enemy because they've always been the common enemy. For 150 years, they've been the common enemy. Even when the Lipstock League was around, right, they were fighting each other, the Alliance was still a common enemy.
Yeah.
At no point was the Lipstock League, oh man, we're losing, call the Alliance. No. The Alliance will always be the rebels. So I just disagree on the element that he was a lie.
I think it's a lie from the point of view that he's stating a general fact, but he is not doing it. His personal reasons don't match what he's telling her, and she notices. So it's like, it's a half lie, right?
I don't even think that. I don't think it's a half lie because the things he's saying, I know you're reading as a lie for motivations factor, but at the end of the day, nothing he says is a lie. I don't want to kill a kid. He doesn't want to kill a kid. Proven by the previous thing that you're unwilling to discuss. Also, yeah, nothing he says is untrue. Your motivation for saying a thing does not affect the truth of the thing that you're saying.
It does from your point of view, though.
No, because again, just because he wants to say a thing does not make the thing he says untrue if it's not untrue. If I want to kill the Alliance because I made a promise to somebody, and then I indicate that the other enemy that you're indicating to me that we should probably focus on is more important than the other thing, the thing that I want to do, and I say a bunch of facts that are true about why we should go after one thing and not the other, does not make those facts untrue. Even to yourself. He never made a promise to Kurt Chase, hey Kurt Chase, I promise I'll never kill a bunch of kids. Because we know childhood him with a rock is more than willing to kill a bunch of kids. So, what he said is not untrue. That's my point on that. So I don't find he's a liar.
I think he's saying it to cover his real reasons. In other words, of course.
I think you're saying he's being disingenuous, which is not the same as lying.
Well, yes, he's very much being disingenuous.
The difference between being facetious and sarcastic.
Yes.
Yeah, he's not lying. He's not telling an untruth. his motivation for saying what he's saying might be different from the outward perspective, but it's not a lie.
I mean, I think Hilda's basically considering that there should be peace between the Federation and the Empire.
Because, that's crazy talk.
Well, I don't consider it to be crazy talk. It's crazy talk only in the fact that you have Trunick in charge, and he's a moron who wants to continue to get any advantage. And so, if he sees the Empire and he's positioned himself as being as the ultimate anti-imperial, I want to fight the war because we have to liberate the people.
Trunick is pro-imperial. We've covered this before in the past. Trunick's position is so fucking pro-imperial. The "we have to save the Empire" position. That is the most, the people of the Empire are the people.
He's not pro-Empire. He's pro-people.
He is pro-Empire, and he would also like to be in charge of everyone in the dictator position, so he is pro-Empire himself, but he's pro-Empire from the element that we will sacrifice everything that we have got. I gotta stop talking like that. We have to sacrifice everything that we have got.
To destroy the Empire.
No, to save the people of the Empire from the Empire. But
by destroying the Empire.
No, by saving the people. But the point being is...
There's no distinction there.
There is a distinction there. The people of the Empire are the Empire.
Not really.
And the speech that we've literally gotten from, what was it, the Secretary of Transportation, was literally, under Trunick, by the way, that we have to sacrifice everything to save the people of the Empire. They don't typically give out the speech of destroying the Empire. It's about saving the people. For some reason, they want to frame it that way.
That's a justification to destroy the Empire.
No, it's about rescuing the people of the Empire.
Of destroying the Empire, though.
No, not really. Because then you'd have to destroy the people of the Empire. You don't want to frame,
we're
going to destroy a bunch of people to save a bunch of people. They're framing it as we're going to save the people. And whatever implications you may read from that is up to you. That's not our political messaging.
People and the state.
I don't know how you can read into the truth or disingenuousness of Reinhard saying that the Alliance is always going to be the enemy, but somehow political messaging is where you're getting a falter on.
It isn't political messaging. Well, it's not.
It is literally political messaging because she's saying it in a political message.
Yes, but she is not pro-empire. She says anti. Did you say they're pro-empire? They're not pro-empire.
They are pro-empire because they're pro-imperial citizen over their own people. They're legitimately, we are going to sacrifice all of our resources. We're going to take away all the funding we're giving to our own civilians. We're going to pour it all into our military to save the people of the Empire.
They're liberating them from the Empire, not saving the Empire.
They frame it as saving the people of the Empire.
The people on the state.
They never say, not once have they ever said the word liberation.
Yeah, they did. In fact, they were going to. That's what they were doing. They were
not
liberating
political
the
messaging. You might be referring to what the people on the front lines are saying when they're talking about, giving the people food and freedom and whatnot. Political messaging back home is they're going to save the people of the Empire.
From the Empire.
Again, you're adding words. I'm literally just telling you their own political messaging. You're reading into it.
How are they not going to...
I don't give a shit, Lessons. I'm not telling you what the logical course of action would have to be here. Because that's obvious. But that's not the political messaging, Lessons. I'm just telling you what the political messaging is.
The only way you can say Trunick is pro-Empire is that he's so inept and so self-centered that he's actually sapping the strength of the Alliance, thus helping the Empire.
That's literally what I just fucking said, Lessons. Pay attention. Stop trying to argue with me and listen to me. You're going to destroy my throat. You're going to win this argument because I'm going to cough in the blood by the end.
Okay, fine.
I know. I have no ability to stop myself from getting too excited and then, ripping my own throat. But the element is that he is weakening the Alliance at the cost of the Alliance's defense and everything to assault the Empire. Like I said, he's going to take away everyone's resources, put it into a military campaign, and that military campaign is going to fucking fail because it's a fucking Alliance. All on the precept of we are going to save the Empire. The people of the Empire.
That last bit is the fact that publicly speaking, that's what he's doing. The message is not that he's going to save the Empire. He's going to save the people from the Empire.
Lessons. What you're working with is the implication of the message. I am just repeating the message. We're going to save the people of the Empire.
Because the people in the state are not the same thing.
They are in the view of the context that they are just the Empire. They are not saying we're going to depose the government of the Empire. They're not saying that we are going to remove the Imperial facility or whatever on next planets and take over. They never state any end goals. They just say we are going to save the people of the Empire. And to preface that, we are taking away funding from programs in the Alliance. We're going to stop funding outreach programs to the citizens. People are not having to pay for their own educations and whatnot, because all of that is going into the military. And we're just going to keep weakening and weakening the Alliance to then fund the military action to save the people of the Empire. And we've previously had conversations about this lessons where the indication is the Imperial citizen is more important to the politicians of the Alliance than the Alliance citizen is. And that's why I call them pro-Imperial, because they're pro-Empire. They care more about the citizen of the Empire than they do the citizen of the Alliance. That makes them pro-Empire. And I know what you're saying is they're not pro the Empire State. And fair, that's not what I'm saying. They're pro-Empire is in the citizens of the Empire.
Which no longer be citizens of the Empire.
They're the citizens of the Empire until you take care of the Empire. In which case, hey, let's take all of the food stock that we have saved up for the Alliance, let's move that over to the Imperial side to feed the Imperial citizens. Our people are starving. Our people have to make sacrifices. For who? The Imperial citizens. You mean the people who were raised to hate us? Yes. They're pro-Imperial.
Okay, that was your note then, right? All of that.
I don't remember.
My last note was about Hilda and the locket, so yeah.
I don't know. Read your next one. I don't remember what the last actual note was.
Talking about Trunic plans to summon Yang for an inquiry into his actions during the coup, which, because it's not a formal legal proceeding, won't attract too much scrutiny while still satisfying the peasants' demands that Yang not be present as the Empire readies its attack.
Well, it's going to be a political scene, which is what Trunic is good at. And not for nothing, they've got the why did you destroy the protection of the capital world, if not to make it easier for the next time. Which is literally a point that they brought up for them to then bring up.
Yeah.
So
which is a point I brought up the last time that when it happened as well. It's like you don't have to destroy all of them. Like, well, we're going to destroy them to demoralize the
well, you said there was no point to keep any of them. Of all the conversation going on about who Yang would take with him back to the capital for his hearing, I'll stick to everything I said during the reaction. The thing I want to continue to emphasize is obviously taking Frederica back is a mistake. The hearing is really just a show, and showing up with the daughter of the admiral that led the coup is just going to look bad, and you know that they are going to bring it up against him.
Yeah, why? Oh, there's also someone else that might be brought up as well. The fact that he now has in his staff Imperial defectors. We haven't talked about that.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not. The point that will be brought up, I'm sure, but he's not bringing them with him. Like, legitimately, this is going to be you're being influenced by the forces that just tried to make a coup, right? Well, aren't you just being whispered into the ear? Like, I legit don't see a world where Frederica does not get arrested the moment that they're in the courtroom.
Well, it's not going to be a court.
It's a court of inquiry, which means that they're going to do a. It's not going to be the same as, but it's going to be like a McCarthyist hearing. I'm assuming where you're going to have a bunch of people in authority sitting on high tables, judging people who have a limited time span to talk in front of them. That he's going to come in there with Frederica, and they're going to have a back and forth, and then they're going to arrest Frederica for ties to a coup, which don't really exist, but. The element is we're bringing you in for a non-legal, non-military thing, but the moment you're here, you are subject to the laws that we're going to put you under. I mean, here's the thing. I've already done this in Jujutsu Kaisen, where I was describing, this is how I would write this to make it more interesting if I was going to try and pick how the story would go. Well, if I was doing I can't remember his name now. Clancy.
Tom Clancy?
Tom Clancy. Sorry, my brain went to Clancy Brown. It's like, that's not the right guy. If I was doing a military drama thriller, that's how I would do it.
That was my note. I think so. He's not your note.
No, that was my note. It was my note about who Yang would take with him, and Frederica was a bad choice.
Talking about people and flags. Those are not death flags at all, Kemp. Nope.
Well, that's my next note too. That's my next note too. Well, Kemp's not coming back from the next operation.
Yeah, saying you never lost a fight, that you're going out to fight the bad guys, which in Frank's point of view is true, but
I mean, it's shocking that he said all of that and then was on a test for the warp thing, and the thing didn't just blow up or vanish.
Yeah.
Event Horizon. So one episode, Event Horizon episode, where Geiersberg went to hell and came back.
Oh, you answered my note. We might do your note, so I'll go to my second to last note. I get pressed in recruiting Schumacher, especially if they're planning an assassination. But Landsberg? What does Landsberg bring to the whole thing? Money? Resources, I guess, but,
Again, we use different names for
deniability.
people, so I don't know who you're talking about. Schumacher, first name.
He's Captain Schumacher. He's one of
Leopold?
the people that affect. Yeah, Leopold.
See, I referred to him as
then
Leopold. That's why in the board notes I said he was connected to Leopold. The other one was
Count Landsberg. I don't remember.
oh
his first name.
the
skinny
minister.
kid. Yeah. No, not the minister. The skinny kid that was trying to peddle his stories.
Oh
to
yeah.
Like, why him?
Sorry, actually, here, let me follow your note up again with another note, because I refer to Count Landsberg. There we go.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much Count Landsberg looks like Baron Flegel. And to be teamed up with the guy that killed Flegel, too, I almost have to wonder if the plan isn't going to revolve around being a look-alike. Put Landsberg out there as Flegel, and try to organize the remaining pro-Golden Bomb forces together for something.
That's supported by the Alliance, I guess. So to make people hate the Alliance, because that seems to be the thing that's what Runic told his assistant. Make sure that they hate the Alliance. We got to make sure that So yeah.
I don't know the what for. That's why I said for something. But I was thinking back when I first saw this guy. God, this guy looks like Flegel. And why would you team up the guy who killed Flegel, who was directly under Flegel's command, with a guy who looks like Flegel? It just seems like it's a look-alike. Oh, they're back. Flegel and crew didn't die. They didn't defect. They've just been on the run. Here they are. They're back. What are they doing? It would also make him the oldest in the line of, well, no, Flegel was never in the line of succession.
No, he's the cousin to the prince, who was the husband to the princess.
But he's part of the Lipstock thing, so I don't know.
Lipstock coalition, yeah.
Well, it's League, Lipstock League.
Yeah, Lipstock League. And my last note, which is more of a clarification of whether this happened or not. Yep, the second test was the test of the warp engines, as shown by the fortress suddenly appearing into view.
Yeah, I already referred to it. I understand you brought it up because we had a debate, but I literally already mentioned it when I was talking about Event Horizon.
Yeah. So those are my notes.
If the Empire successfully takes back Iserlohn and Geiersberg survives all of this, the Empire will have the corridor and the most defensive station of all time, but also a warping mobile fortress that can carry entire fleets and armies inside of it for deployment wherever need be. If it invaded the Alliance with this, it would be a mobile HQ with a capacity for supply that could ensure that the problem the Alliance had couldn't happen to them. This could be a real war winner, redefining fleet combat.
I mean, there's a mention of this being actually an older strategy called an all guns or all big gun strategy, but you don't get to an explanation.
Well, in this
of what
case,
that means.
We've already established that Geiersberg Fortress can contain enough supply for years. The idea was that
2 million troops, thousands of ships, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, specifically when they were sieging Geiersberg Fortress, that these people would never have to leave, that this thing was self-sustaining. So the idea that it could then also carry fleets and invasion forces would probably mean that if pushed for an invasion, it could probably be self-supplying for a long time before it would ever have to come back. Obviously not enough to last forever in, because you're probably feeding more people than was in the siege. But way more than the Alliance has ever had when it comes to a mobile HQ for your invasion. Because remember, it's also armed with a super weapon.
Yeah. Well, those were my notes.
Well, my last note is that Julian is 5'6". Half a foot shorter than me. Which probably means that I'm also taller than Yang.
Probably.
I don't know about Reinhard, though, because Yang looks shorter than Reinhard.
Well, Kirchheis was taller than Yang and Reinhard, so it's about 6 foot, give or take.
Right, but I'm just going up the tier of people that I think. I know that Kirchheis looks taller, but I don't know as I said, I don't know about Reinhard.
It's a half a tad taller.
So Kirchheis being taller than Reinhard doesn't tell me anything if I don't know how tall Reinhard is. We know that he was taller than Julian, obviously. So I'm guessing Julian, Yang, Reinhardt, Kirchheis.
That's a safe bet.
And then Kirchheis wasn't even the tallest person we've seen.
No. What's his name? The big ape guy.
Oblesser.
He was pretty tall. Oblesser, yeah,
I wouldn't have called him the big ape, but sure, whatever. Well, I'm looking at that guy. I don't think big ape. I think purple Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get a purple scar, man.
Oh. Must be one funky party.
I don't know. Maybe chemical weapons.
Yeah.
I just think you can think of chemical warfare. All right, well, with all that said, nothing left to do but hop on in and see what the episode brings us.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button.
Hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
on top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
Unfiltered,
Uncensored,
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
it's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
The new intro that we're talking about. Oh. No.
その力を内に対しては国民の弾圧、外に対しては侵略という形で乱用するとき、
Haha, alliance ship.
滅亡への途上にある。これは歴史上証明可能な事実である。加えて現在の我々には帝国に侵攻するだけの力はない。
Sorry, just with a voiceover like that, could have been either side. The fact we came down on an alliance ship. Are we going to a flashback episode? Also, you're writing in English.
Yeah, the
Also, does your
they've done
computer
these
not have a
before.
backlighting? Why do you need a light for your computer?
No, I think it's to the desk, not for the computer.
Well, even then, though, your screen should be putting off enough light that you can see the keyboard in front of it.
I mean, I have a light.
I don't know what you're implying. Every time you compare yourself to the characters like this.
それを認めたとき、ローエングラム体制との共存は可能なばかりでなく必然となるであろう。
Says Yang.
Yeah, but Reinhard is not interested in that at all.
どうぞ。
What a very 90s doorbell.
ああ、ありがとう。ちょうど一服しようかと思ってたところなんだ。
Oh, right. Because he's not taking his flagship back to the capital with him.
Yeah.
I thought that was hair in his drink.
気に入らないんだ。自分でも結論を急ぎすぎたかと思ってね。
気分転換になりますかどうか、ハイネセンのテレビ放送が入り始めていますけれど。
Yeah, from 80 years ago, we're still a ways out.
一時の出費や個人のちっぽけな命などを惜しむべきではない。
ちっぽけな命だってさ。権力者にとっては他人の命ほど安いものはないんだろう。
And he's the guy I just added to the board.
それに一時の出費とやらはもう150年以上も続いてるけど、彼らの自分の懐が痛むわけじゃない。負担するのは一般市民だからね。
He's a guy who uncomfortably his name starts with the word Negro for some reason. Which I know just means black in Japanese.
しかし、ここは我らが食い止めます。どうかお忍びられて、正当なる王家の復活を。隣国を頼られ、最高の機会をお待ちください。王子、逃がさぬ大事。己、進化の身で王家に弓引く不届きまに。逆賊め、人間の風上にも置けるわ。この世に悪の栄えた試しはないぞ。負け犬の遠吠えか。構わぬやってしまえ。
この番組のスポンサー
Okay.
We'll all remember that time in The Legend of Galactic Heroes where we just watched another show.
Yeah, show within a show.
内容が内容なんでね。帝国の旧体制派が政治宣伝のために流してるんじゃないかと思ったんだが。
まさか。そうとも取れる内容ですわね。
いいよ、タイ。自分でも随分突飛なことを言っていると思っているんだ。ただ、フェザーンというところがかえって引っかかってね。
と言いますと？
同盟とローエングラム体制下の帝国とは共存できるはずなんだ。おかしな協情主義や原理主義に陥らない限りはね。はい。ところがそうなると
Church of Terror on one side and
Yeah, but he knows the Church of Terror exists here, so
修好関係が成立してしまえば、彼らの地の利も意味をなくす。
それではフェザーンはあくまで同盟とローエングラム体制との決裂を望むだろうと。
Oh, thank God everyone on the Alliance side is psychic and yet somehow can't see things coming. See? How the fuck? Where would you guess that from? It's like the prisoner exchange all over again.
自分でも悲観論が過ぎると思うんだが、この間からこうならなければいいと思う方にばかり事態が進むものでね。
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. This is episode 31.
特に根拠があるわけじゃないんだが、何かもっと論理的でない。
Again, it's always, I'm going to guess exactly what's going to happen, and I have no basis for thinking that's what's going to happen, even though I've nailed it on the fucking head. Some bouncy ass steps.
いや、それはまずいんじゃないかな。極秘でとの命令だからね。
ヤン提督、トリューニヒト議長閣下の警護室長を務めております。ベイ准将であります。
Yeah, the guy who was with the church, who was leaking information.
微力ながら誠心誠意務めさせていただきます。
ご苦労様。
That's a lot of
どう
gun.
ぞ、提督。
何を？
国防委員長命令でヤン提督お一人をお連れするようにとのことだ。堂々はご遠慮願おう。
どうなさいます、大？
仕方ないわね。
I'm glad he had nothing important to say to them before he left.
Yeah.
Just a
所在もわからないのでは何もできないわ。
こちらでお休みください。何かご用の際は彼が表に控えておりますから、何なりと。
Yeah, that's a guard.
召喚は国防委員長閣下に提督が到着されたことを報告してまいりますので。
Those bars on the windows? Yeah. A camera across the...
閣下、1時間後に査問会が開始されるとのことです。会場にご案内させていただきますので、お支度をどうぞ。
焦りは禁物だぞ、ヤン・ウェンリー。
何かわかりましたか？
ベイ准将が立ち回りそうなところは分かったわ。評議会ビルに行ってみましょう。
surprised that they let those guys just wander around free. Figured they would have been isolated back at the transport. That's right, Negroponte, that's his name.
Yeah. There was a ambassador to Central America that also was Negroponte, and he was... Well,
How dare you come here not wearing a suit?
yeah.
別に頼んだわけじゃない。
何か言ったかね。
いいえ。
それでは査問を開始する。
I go figure they'd all be sitting in high positions looking down on him.
Yeah.
Like all inquiries happen. First time we saw the mother.
16歳の時、進学して歴史を勉強することを認めてもらった直後に父親が事故し、父親の唯一の遺産であった古美術品がほとんど贋作であることが判明して、ほぼ無一文の状態となる。やむなく無料で歴史が学べる同盟軍士官学校戦士研究学科に入学。2年の時に学科が廃止されたために
98 points.
研究科に転科。
One of those was 58 points, so he's not good at everything.
55点がボーダーラインですからね。
Sorry, are you laughing?
士官学校だったが、もし本当に落第していたら結構歴史が変わっていたかもしれないな。
Yeah, clearly they're laughing like, oh, this guy's not the genius that everybody makes him out to be.
アムリッツァで惨敗することもなかっただろう。そうなれば死なずに済んだ兵士たちは何万人だろうか。だがその場合は逆に今頃はローエングラム港に同盟が滅ぼされていることだってあり得る。全く歴史というやつは。
そして現在君は同盟軍最年少の大将であり前線の最高司令官であるというわけだ。人も羨む幸運とはこのことだな。
そんなに羨ましいなら変わってやろうか。
だが誰であれ我が民主国家においては規範を超えて恣意的に行動することは許されない。その点に関する疑問を一掃するため今日の査問会と相なったのだ。そこで第一の疑問だが、昨年のクーデターを鎮圧するにあたって君は 巨額の国費を投じて設置されたアンテリスの首飾りをすべて破壊したな。
はい。
これは君らしくもなく、いかにも短気でそやな方法ではなかったのかね。そこで君の意図が他のところにあったのではないかとの疑問が。
If I was here to take over, wouldn't I have taken over?
他に何か方法はなかったのかね。例えば2、3個の攻撃衛星を破壊したところで大気圏内への降下を行ってもよかったのではないか。
Conversely, had I done so, You'd to be answering to Green Hill right now.
我が軍の将兵に犠牲者が出たであろうことは疑いありません。将兵の命より無人の衛星が惜しいとおっしゃるなら、私の判断は誤っていたことになりますが。ではハイネ戦を包囲して持久戦に持ち込み、彼らの交戦の意思を削ぐというやり方はどうだね。その方法は私も考えましたが、2つの点から捨てざるを得ませんでした。なんだねそりゃ。第一に、心理的に追い詰められたクーデター派が局面を打開するために首都にいた政府の要人たちを人質にする危険性が。
I mean, doesn't help that you showed us that one picture of them shooting them in the hallway.
の頭に銃を突きつけて交渉を迫ってきたら、我々としてはなすすべがありません。
Oh. Yeah, like, well, I'd save your asses, so, you know.
動乱は収束に向かっていました。のんびりクーデター派の自滅を待っていたら、ラインハルト・フォン・ローエングラムが、あの戦争の天才が勝利の余勢を。
I don't know, maybe don't glaze him up during this meeting.
Yeah.
以上の2点により、私は短期間にハイネ戦解放を成し遂げ、しかも犠牲を拡大しないために、クーデター派に心理的敗北感を与える手段を。
Didn't even have to mention the massive, dome attack.
甘んじてお受けしますが、それにはより完成度の高い代案を示していただかないことには、私はともかく命がけで戦った部下たちが納得しないでしょう。
Guys, we're getting owned up here.
Yeah.
ではその件は一応置いて次の件に移る。クーデター派の第11艦隊と戦うにあたって、君は全軍の将兵に向かって言ったそうだな。国家の荒廃など個人の自由と権利に比べれば取るに足らぬものだと。それを聞いた複数の人間の証言があるが間違いないかね。一字一句間違いなくその通りとは言いませんが、それに類することは確かに言いました。不見識な発言だとは思わないかな。はあ？何がです？君は国家を守るべき責務を負った軍人だ。その君が国家を軽んじるような発言をするのは不見識ではないか。
And how dare you tell people not to follow illegal orders?
あれは私にとって珍しく
Really got that feeling right now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
国家の構成要因として個人が存在するのではなく、主体的な意思を持った個人が集まってできる社会の一つの方便として国家がある以上、どちらが主でどちらが従であるか、民主社会にとっては自明の理でしょう。自明の理かね。私の見解はいささか異なるがね。人間は社会的生き物だ。誰も一人では生きていけない以上、人間にとって国家は不可欠な価値を持つ。そうでしょうか。人間が生きていくのに不可欠なものはあくまで社会であって、何も国家である必要はないでしょう。こいつは驚いた。君はかなり過激な無政府主義者らしいんだ。違います。私は菜食主義者です。
Yeah, also you got me. Living in a hierarchy like I am. I'm such a anarchist.
やってとく、君は当左門会を侮辱する気かね。とんでもない。そんな意思は毛頭ありません。
どうかね、ここらで一つ休憩ということにしては。ヤン提督も疲れただろうし、私もくたびれた。一休みさせてもらうとありがたいな。
He's Tronic, man, isn't he? Giving him an out?
No clue. Remember, it's Vei who's Trunic's guy, who's also looking after everyone's safety, so who the hell knows?
国家の最高機密に属することだ。面会など許可できんし、居場所も教えることはできん。
Well, never mind. This is Vei, so.
公開の精神的拷問を指して言うのですね。
言葉を慎みたまえ。
違うとおっしゃるのなら、左門会の公開、弁護人の同席、および非左門者との面会を重ねて要求します。
そんな要求には応じられん。
I mean, plus the element that most of the defense council stuff has been private for a while now.
答える必要を認めない。
では国民的英雄であるヤン提督を一部の政府高官が非合法に精神的リンチにかけた。そう報道機関に知らせてよろしいのですね。
知らせてみたまえ。どこのジャーナリズムも取り上げはせんよ。
We've already taken control of that.
そんなことした途端、国家機密保護法を適用され、君自身が軍法会議にかけられる羽目になるぞ。
軍法会議には該当いたしません。そもそも左門会なるものに法的根拠。
Well, thank God we've changed the rules to do whatever the fuck we want. Did I mention we control the Department of Justice?
Yeah.
どうしてもヤン提督の人権を無視して左門会を強行なさるのでしたら、こちらも相応の手段を取らせていただきます。
父親が父親なら娘も
See, I thought they were doing more shit about that. Tell him that she's Greenhill's daughter.
覚悟しておりました。そのつもりで参ったのですけれど。
君がいてくれないと困るんだ。
やりたくはなかったけど最後の手段よ。美国提督にお目にかかってお力をお借りしましょう。
Can he though?
I mean, he's still higher up.
情報局にやらせておく。ネグロポンティ君にも言っておこう。で、グリーンヒルの娘は。
は、どうやら宇宙艦隊総司令部に向かったようです。尾行はつけてありますが。
God damn those Federation. They're gonna ruin everything.
Yeah, he's gonna call his old friends.
フレデリカ・グリーンヒル大尉を君は副官として任用しておるんだ。
それが何か？
彼女は昨年民主共和政治に対する反逆行為を行ったグリーンヒル大将の娘だ。君はそれを知っているはずだが。
ほう、我が自由の国では古代の先制国家よろしく親の罪が子に及ぶというわけですか？
そんなことは言っておらん。
それ以外に解釈できませんが。
私が言っておるのは無用の誤解を避けるために人事に配慮する必要があるのではないかということだ。
So you're saying the thing that I'm saying you're saying.
Yeah.
教えていただけませんか？何か証拠があっての深刻な疑惑ならともかく、無用の誤解などという得体の知れないものに対して備える必要を召喚は感じません。副官人事に関しては、軍
Dude, do you need like your heart medicine or something? What's going on with you?
He can't stand being talked back to that way. Yeah, that's what it is. Like,
yeah, but I mean, people like that
ego
seem like he's gonna have a heart attack any second now.
そう解釈してよろしいのでしょうか？
提督、そういうふうに言われたのでは我々も質問がしにくくなる。我々と君とは敵同士ではない。もっと理性と良識を持って互いの理解を深めようではないかね。
本日の受付は終了しました。
No.
それに第一司令長官への面会
How about no?
最低でも3日前にはアポを取っていただかないと。
内容はここでは申せませんが緊急の要件なんです。
そう言われましても長官もご帰宅の時刻でもう
Oh, cool. I was waiting here in the lobby for him then.
Yeah.
失礼ですが、グリーンヒル閣下のお嬢さんではありませんか？
そうですが、あなたは？
いや、あなたはご存じないかもしれないが、お父上には随分お世話になったものです。
Can't wait for this to turn out to, yeah, like how he killed my family. Got a lot to pay it back for.
すぐ行けば捕まると思いますが。
本当ですか？
あそこのログマンリフトを使いなさい。
Yeah, that sounds like a trap.
急ぎますので失礼します。
降りたぞ。予定通りだ。
Yeah, see.
Yep.
Under arrest.
Yeah, these assholes.
Back to Casey Jones and the gang?
Yeah, I told you this was.
I mean, I get it. They're wearing armor and they got batons. It's just really hard to feel threatened by these guys. Frederica, you had to have been military trained to do something. They're really knocking back female stereotypes. What are you doing here? Why did you suddenly show up on floor 6?
地球は我が母、地球を我が手に。
我々は君を指導するために呼び寄せたのではない。むしろ君の立場を良くするためにこの左門会を
I just don't like the Frederica as damsel in distress thing that suddenly got.
無論我々の方でも君に対する協力は惜しまないつもりだ。
それでは一つお願いがあるのですが。
なんだね。
模範解答の表があったら見せていただけませんか？あなた方がどういう答えを期待しておいでか知っておきたいんです。
警告する。当左門会を侮辱し、その敬意と品格を長老するがごとき言動は。
What authority? Literally, you're not here by law at all.
権威と品格ね。
Legitimately, at this point, it's just fucking arrest me or do something.
Yeah, yeah, that's what he's challenging me to.
もっともな心配じゃが、同時に無用の心配でもある。というのも、軍部全体が一丸となって政府に対するなど、もはやありえんことになってしまったからじゃよ。
軍部内が二派に分裂しているとおっしゃるのですか？
二派？うん、二派には違う。
Yeah, whose job controls one of the camps.
ごく少数派を同列に並べて良いものならば、無論わしは少数派さ、自慢にもならんことじゃが。
一体どうしてそんなことに？
クーデター。
昨年のクーデターが原因といえば原因なんじゃ。あれで軍部の信用が失墜し、発言力が低下したのを政治や
Don't stand close to that window.
軍部に浸透させるのに利用しよったのじゃ。
I would be shocked if Bocock was the first person who actually gets shot through a window.
クブルスリー本部長もわしも去年のクーデターの際なすところがなかったから抗議しても冷笑されるだけでな。
何と申し上げたらよいか。そこまでお困りとは存じませんでした。
何、別に困ってはおらんよ。いまいましいだけじゃ。ごそごそとうるさくてな。実はこの部屋にも9割以上の確率で盗聴器が仕掛けられてある。それを承知でこんな話をしたのはな、今さら旗色をごまかすこともできんし、盗聴の記録自体は
But you two are fucked. Should have probably warned you when you came in.
侵害で訴える材料にもなる。政府に同盟憲章を遵守するつもりがあればの話じゃがな。
政府は民主主義の建前を公然と踏みにじることはできませんわ。
Oh, yes, they can. You have thugs to do just that, and they had just attacked you.
ところで肝心のヤンの件じゃが、事情が分かった以上、わしもできるだけ協力をさせてもらおう。
でもご迷惑ではないでしょうか。
訪ねてきておいて今さらそんなことは気にせんでもよい。それにわしもあの若いのは好きだし。
So please take me back to Isolon with you when you leave.
Yeah.
すぐいい気になるからな。
本当に感謝します。お人柄に甘えて申し上げますと、私もビュコック閣下が好きですわ。
おお、ぜひ家内に聞かせてやりたいな。そうじゃ。ことが
the wife joke, of course.
今日のようなことがあるといかん。
ありがとうございます。でもどうしてここに来ると分かったのか。
尾行はされておらんだろうな。
確証はありませんが、怪しげな地上車を一台ならず見ました。尾行だとすれば途中で交代したのだと思います。
やはりな、ベイのゴキブリ野郎のやりそうなことだ。タイ、これが民主主義の総本山の現状じゃ。まだ雨が降り出しておらんが、雲の厚さたるや大変なものだし、加速度的に悪くなっておるようじゃ。この天気回復させるのは容易なことではないぞ。
Again, the element is that Job has not been elected into his office this time. He's just a temporary figure who's been given authority forever, apparently.
外へお出かけになるには及びません。
こんな殺風景なところじゃ食欲も湧きやしない。
門から外へお出になるときには米閣下の許可を必要とします。
別に許可なんか欲しくないがね。
欲しいかどうかの問題ではありません。閣下といえども規則は守っていただきませんと。
それじゃ准将に合わせてくれないか。
准将は公用で最高評議会議長オフィスに出かけておられます。
いつ帰ってくる？
わかりかねます。
明日も左門会はあるのか？
それもわかりかねます。
How about you then direct me to the second in command, since you can't get him on a telephone?
ああ、それだけだよ。
ではごゆっくり。
やってられるか。やめてやる。今度こそ本当にやめてやる。イゼルロンの攻略以来、人がやめるっていうのを無理やり引き止めて権限を拡大させていったのは奴らじゃないか。
Just had that in the drawer?
安全な場所でぬくぬくとして。
Oh, you should write it out, okay.
言われる筋合いなんかあるか。やめてやる。絶対にやめてやる。
So I'm guessing there's going to be a depression in the desk that they're going to use to actually copy what he wrote and actually submit it as though he had submitted it, making him look like he's such a rogue military guy now.
前方の空間に歪みが発生。何かがワープアウトしてき
ます。Geyersburg?
12時の方向、距離300光秒。必要。必要。必要。極めて大。もっと正確に。
More than a fleet.
必要。約40兆トン。戦艦などではありません。天体規模です。 急速交代しろ。全艦交代。時空神に巻き込まれるぞ。
Yeah, I didn't even think about just like warping in on top of stuff.
This was like an added, yeah, like they added this retroactively.
宇宙歴798年、帝国歴489年4月10日、ガイエスブルグ要塞はイゼルローン回廊に侵入した。
Yeah. Totally gonna be... Oh, nope. Pause. Always pause. So, yeah, totally gonna be Iserlon versus Geiersburg.
Yeah. With Yang not being present to help Iserlon.
Yeah, but everybody he established by merit being there.
Hopefully.
Well, where were they gone?
No, not that they're not there. It's just that there will be enough of them to...
Well, I didn't imply that they would win lessons. I just said that they would be there. You said hopefully, and it's like, what, are they going to go on a rescue mission to save Yang? And then they're all going to be gone? That's why?
Yeah.
That's why they're going to take Iserlon, as the third tier committee couldn't defend Iserlon? Those random bridge crew guys that we see talking to one another?
Yeah.
Didn't have what it took to run Iserlon on their own?
Yeah, it looks like the Alliance is fucked either way.
Well, yeah. Thankfully, I've never been on the Alliance's side, so...
That's a wrench?
No. I was trying to pretend it was one of those clackers.
Yeah?
It's a pair of nail clippers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't look for something to celebrate, because I'm celebrating the downfall of the Alliance. What are you going to celebrate?
No, I'm not looking for that. It's just that it looked like one of those, L wrenches that come like...
Even a hex wrench.
So. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I don't know. Don't try and search for the name and then whatever me when I give you the name.
Well, I don't know. I'm not an expert.
It's a hex wrench because it's a hex shape at the end of the thing. Go for hex screws.
Mm.
It also has a second name, which is also based on what that's called, other than a hex. I don't remember what that's called. It's not. They're never called. I mean, they're called L things because that's what people call them because it's L shaped.
Yeah.
But they're called hex wrenches. If you look at the instructions of what's supposed to come with the thing that you're building, they call them hex wrenches.
I mean, everything that's happened so far has
happened as I designed.
More like predictable, right?
Yeah,
Ghost calling insurance. We know that there was going to be an attack, although it didn't happen on Yang. Instead, happened on what's her name?
Also known as an Allen key. That's what they're also known as.
That I've heard, but didn't come to mind. Never mind. So yeah, not surprising now that the Empire showed up with their own fortress. It feels like just a matter of time, basically.
I mean, to be fair, Iserlon is their fortress too.
Yeah, well, it was.
Well, they built it.
Yeah.
And, not for nothing, it's been theirs longer than the Alliance has had it.
Yeah, that's when you usually, capture something recently. Usually in the hands of those people you captured it from. Longer than when you captured it.
Well, okay. Well, if you want to go that way, Mr. Smarty Pants, then it's still the Empire's in the same realm that everything that the Rebels control is still the Empire's.
That's what the Empire claims.
Yes, and the Empire's winning, so the Empire's claim is the best claim right now. We even looked at Pheasant's numbers, and the Empire's winning in economy as well.
Now that they liberated all that money from the nobility. How long that's going to last?
I mean, no, before then. Before then, the Empire was winning economically, and then we saw the Pheasant's updated thing, and the Empire's winning even more now.
Democracy will be crushed. Although, really, democracy
you're labeling it. And honestly, in this position, this is like the Alliance is the Klingons. They're desperately holding on to what they can to keep their military power to be the equivalent to the Empire's. And in this case, the Empire would be like the mirror universe or whatever.
That's not a good thing, by the way.
In the real world, of course not. In the realm of sci-fi entertainment, I love the Mirror Empire.
Yeah, the torture booths and some execution.
Antagonizer, please.
Yeah, that's lovable. That's wonderful.
Yeah. lessons I prefaced in the real world, no. Sci-fi entertainment, yes. I love the Mirror Universe episodes. Mirror Darkly was a good Enterprise novel. Unfortunately, weirdly set in the same time as the DS9 stuff it takes place in, but before the DS9 Mirror Universe episodes. I will say,
I didn't like
not
the,
in love with the
DS9
DS9
episodes.
Mirror ones.
I like the original. I like the TOS era, and I like the Enterprise era episodes.
That was in a Mirror Darkly. Dark Mirror was the TNG novel one. Anyway, yeah, and a Mirror Darkly, the two-parter that had to cross over with the original Defiant, which was from the episode Tholian Web from the TOS episode.
Yeah,
weird crossover for the Tholians, but whatever.
No, I mean, they were creating multi-dimensional webs, so...
You say that. My problem is that my experience with the Tholians comes from Starfleet Battles, from Amarillo Design Bureau, which is the tabletop war game, in which the webs just kept you contained and stuck, and you had to use extra power to try and get out of them, and the Tholians had all these extra rules about how to fire through webs and tracking weapons going through webs and whatnot. So, my experience is like from a Warhammer-type rule set of like very hard to read rules of the webs not doing this.
I had a copy of the original Starfleet Battles, just a base book, not with all the
I had a
expansions
Captain's Edition, which was the second edition, basically.
I read a little bit of it, but I didn't get too much into
I read so much that the book was falling apart. Somewhere around, I probably still have a baggie of the little square little cardboard things the ships were based off of.
Yeah, the
had all the ISDs. I was talking about this to somebody the other day. No, because I brought it up in a reaction to Space Battleship Yamato 2. And I think it was Kellen Winslow that was telling me that Starfleet Battles had been sold off to some other company, and they had remade it into something else. And I looked it up. It's like, no, it wasn't. You must be talking about something else. It's still being published today. I'm actually thinking now it's Amarillo Design Bureau. Because back in the day, it was Task Force Games. Same owner, just one company shut down and the other one's still going.
They had to change it. Well, the name survived lawsuits because Starfleet wasn't trademarked to Star Trek until later, so they got away with it.
I mean, I also appreciate their other game, Starfire, which is the one where your ship isn't a bunch of boxes and everything; it's a bunch of letters. So you're getting SSS for like shields, and then like L for laser or whatnot. Or no, sorry, for them it would be A's for armor. L's for laser, I's for impulse. Then we have like special things. But no, just saying, it'd be like a little sentence of just like little letters. And like, okay, lasers deal damage to shields. No, I think lasers go through shields, so you would start marking the A's first. You just cross off A's. And then I think missiles attack shields first, and then bypass armor, or something like that. Different weapons, different systems. Your movement would be as the number of eyes that were on your ship. Just real easy to track stuff. Something you're like, hey guys, you want to play some Starfire? I've got some dice. This is okay. SSSAAA. You know, real simple shit.
I never heard of it until now. So,
well, it's the same way that Task Force Games got big up on like little pocket books, basically. That you can play all their games real easy just with a book you can keep in your pocket. Well, Starfire was super easy about that. And the story of Starfire is just basically, we encountered a wormhole in our solar system, took us to another system where we ran into another alien race that we started fighting. And then the expansions are, we encountered another race, the Arachnids or whatever. And then it's another race, and it's another race. And they built up their universe through little pocketbook expansions.
There was an Spaceborne RTS that was like that was using the human start, and they jump in, and then these other two races are fighting, another race is fighting each other. They're like, and so they get into a war. Yeah, and the cool thing is that
Starfire too.
The each system had at least one wormhole, so you could put defense satellites and stuff like that to block it and stuff like that. So it just didn't defend only on planets. And then you have these big cannons like that could shoot across the map, right?
Well, yeah, this is a tabletop game.
You know, but I think it doesn't come from.
I think you're thinking of Sins of a Solar Empire.
No, because it's an RTS, not a X4X.
No, Sins of a Solar Empire is real time. Sins of a Solar Empire plays the same way like StarCraft and everything does.
No, but it isn't so. If I were to look,
Sins of a Solar Empire also had every planet connecting to another system by like jumping and everyone out. And every empire in the game had a super weapon, which was basically, hey, shoot a big cannon at another system. But they did different things. Sins is obviously the one I always bring up about the Empire that's running away from a thing that they don't know what they're running away from.
Fantasy Indie, but it's going to take me forever to find it because there's a bunch of RTSs out
You
there.
mean 4X ever?
4X and RTS are not the same thing.
I know, you're the one who was implying that the RTS I was talking about was 4X for some reason.
I thought that Sins of Solar Empire was an RTS.
I don't think so. I mean, you look up your thing, double check this.
It'll take me forever to find this. I don't want to spend, action.
Well, I guess you're right. It's labeled as a strategy 4X, but it's played in real time, so I was saying it's real time.
RTS.
Because, I mean, the research shit that you do in Sins is on the level of the research that you would do if you were playing StarCraft. I'm going to upgrade my units. Let me research this shit. What's happening in real time? I don't know. Last time I played Sins, it was with some of the tabletop people. I can't remember his name. The guy was running Hackmaster for us and everything. And they got tired of it real quick. I mean, it's pretty old as a game, so.
Ace Clash. No, it's not that. Civilizations, sort of a Solar Empire.
Oh, okay. Here's a weird thing. Sins of a Solar Empire is a real-time strategy game that incorporates some elements from 4X games. Its makers describe it as RT4X. So I guess we're both right. I would point out that that is a quote from the makers of the game, and it's also the opening line on the Wikipedia page for it.
Stellaris. One more page, and then I'm Everspace. Nope, it's not X2. No. X Square, actually. X4, Community of Planet Resolution.
Legitimately from the Sins of a Solar Empire website. Sins of a Solar Empire is a RT4X, blending the epic strategy and empire management of a 4X game with the fast pace and tactical elements of real-time strategy.
Stellar Monarch, no, that's not it either. R-Type, clearly not. Not Stellaris. Never mind. We're going to be here forever, and I'm not going to waste my time. More than I already have. So yeah, this episode, like I said, went pretty much as expected, and then the Empire showed up and ruined everything.
They didn't ruin anything.
Or made things worse, actually.
They didn't make anything worse. What did they make worse?
The situation?
The situation? Well, as long as he stays in Jersey, we'll all be fine.
I think he's a lawyer now.
Is he? I don't know. I know nothing about him other than his name is The Situation, and he's from the Jersey Shore. So, literally, the joke took everything I know. Just saying. But my point being is that the Empire didn't make anything worse.
It was a bad joke. Not yours, though. Somebody else's. It's a Jesus joke. So, yeah, I'm not going to repeat it here. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say about this episode. It was an okay episode.
I mean, it's pretty good.
Okay-ish. Yeah.
I mean, because it really puts the weight on the element of the political issue that's going on in the Alliance, more so than I think most every episode so far has.
Well, most of them being on the Empire, so.
Well, no, I mean the element that Yang is in danger in the most real way possible from anything that he's ever really encountered in his entire career or life.
Yeah. Politically.
Well, no, not politically, that they can do anything. They have control of him.
Yeah.
The element that he gets out of the inquiry and can I go get a bite to eat? No, you can't leave. You cannot leave. And we've already seen the outside. The place is surrounded by people with guns. The entire place is wired up. He's on camera. He legitimately has no freedom anymore. And he thinks, oh, I'll just retire then. That'll show him. I don't think you're going to be allowed to retire either. You're now a figurehead for this whole thing. You're McCarthy's #1 scapegoat. So, yeah, Yang is in more danger than when it was just Job and a bunch of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles rejects.
We'll see how he gets out of this one, if he gets out of this one. I mean, they kill Kirchai, so anything's possible.
I don't know if anything is possible. It doesn't seem like...
I doubt it, but...
Every other death of a main character has been pretty surprising so far. I didn't think Jessica was going to die when she did, but first of many.
That was pretty brutal.
All right, well, that said, once again, I have been Theta, this has been Lessons, we've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?